that I put together. The presentation is based on this, and if there's ever any questions along the way, please don't hesitate to ask. Open forum, fire away, and I'll try and answer as best I can. So I wanted to start off with just a bit of an overview of who the company is, where we come from, and a brief introduction to the product line that we have, and then how that's going to lead into the applications of those different products, where we use these different products, some of the specific details that might be related to those products, and a couple of pieces of literature, some key pieces of literature that we'll use as some handouts after to help us with some of the sizings. And then there's some key terms and definitions that we want to make sure that you understand, so that when you're communicating either with the literature or later in your careers out in the field, just so that you understand each other, you're talking the same language. There's a few basic terms that are really important. And then that'll bring us into some of the load development stuff, what affects floor performance, and vibration being one of them, obviously, and how to size, how does that information translate into using tools such as the literature, such as software, which we'll touch in part 3, on how to size up some of our products. And that would be very typical of whatever variety of products that you're using. If you end up later on in your careers using a competitive product to ours, the fundamentals are the same. Okay? So, I guess I'll start off, like I said, with an overview. Some of you may recognize the name Truss Joist. It's an older brand that basically started back in the late 50s. The two company founders were the ones that really invented what we know today as engineered wood products today. Okay? The idea behind the innovations that they came up with or come up with over the years was to really make best use of wood fiber that's available. We'll see as we go through. One of the first inventions was the first wooden I-beam. So you're borrowing the shape from steel I-beams, as the most of you probably know. How to, using wood in order to make the most use out of the geometry of an I-joist, which has some structural strength and reduces some weight, eliminates some material. So that was the first invention. And then we also, the company also along the way invented what we know today as LVL, or laminated veneer lumber. LVL is an industry acronym for laminated veneer lumber, basically a thick plywood. And then a little later on, we invented another product called PSL, or Caroline. Caroline is our brand name. PSL stands for parallel strand lumber, so a different manufacturing process, again, to make the most use of the tree, or the wood fiber that's available. And I'll go more into detail on each of these products on the slides. And then timber strand, which is our brand name, LSL. LSL being laminated strand lumber. Okay? Again, another technology that we invented. Both Caroline and timber strand are still patented by us. LVL, you'll see other flavors of it out in the industry now, just like the I-joist. This version here, I packed a little bit late tonight, or this afternoon, but it comes in a variety of widths of flanges, different depths. It comes with either a solid sawn, 2x3 or 2x4 top board here, or flange. And this one here is an LVL flange. You'll see it later if you come close up. So it's a piece of LVL that we use as a top and bottom flange. So the idea behind these products was to take a billet of wood, and traditionally, if you were to cut solid sawn lumber out of a big tree or a big billet, you end up with a lot of waste. You end up with dealing with the imperfections of a natural product, being a tree. You have tree bark to contend with. You've got branches. You've got knots. The strength of the piece over here is not the same as it is over here. So you've got a very big variability in terms of strength. So the concept of engineered wood is to take that wood fiber, not waste some of this outside stuff, and take it apart and orient it in a strategic way and use as much of the wood fiber as you can in order to produce a much more predictable, stable product. So that's the fundamentals of what engineering is today. Okay. So this kind of image here will be important when I speak of some other products later, knowing that the outside wood fiber of a billet of a tree is actually the strongest wood fiber of all. So when you're dealing with solid sawn lumber, all of that strong wood fiber is actually wasted in many cases, or mulched up for pulp and paper or other uses, but not necessarily as a structural piece of wood. So traditional sawmilling will typically yield about 40% of the tree for its usage, and then after that, you either reuse the leftover material for other things such as pulp and paper or waste. Okay. So truss joist along the way was acquired by Weyerhaeuser, which is a big international forestry company. About a decade ago, Weyerhaeuser acquired several other companies. McMillan-Odell is a popular name in Canada. That was a big forestry company at the time, a competitor to Weyerhaeuser. Weyerhaeuser acquired them, I think, in 1990, and acquired some other companies, Willamette. To make a long story short, at one point we wanted to merge all these different acquisitions together and all the technologies that we acquired during those acquisitions, and merge them all into one new company. So rather than borrowing the name Truss Joist or the name Weyerhaeuser Structural Wood or something, we decided to market a whole new brand which we call Ilevel. So Ilevel today is really the wood products division of Weyerhaeuser. So if you ever went to the Weyerhaeuser website, you'd see Ilevel is one part of the business, but forestry is a whole other ballgame. Cellulose, fiber research, medicines, and it was all kinds of really cool innovations. So Ilevel as a portion of Weyerhaeuser is really the world's largest manufacturer of engineered wood products. We have mills scattered throughout North America. We used to have some business in Europe. We just sold that 2 years ago, so we're really focused primarily on North America. So we have plants in Canada, we have plants in the US. We basically would strategically place our plants in different wood baskets throughout the continent, wherever we need specific species of wood to make the different products that we make. So, as an example, in Ontario we have a plant in Kenora that makes timber strand, that makes this product here. And then we have a plant in Vancouver, for example, where we use BC fir to make paralamp. Okay, so those are 2 Canadian plants. And we have a variety of them. We have a lot more in the US, simply because of the climate, not because there's a lack of trees up here. There's obviously a lack of trees in Canada, but the reality is that in the US with the warmer climate, trees grow much quicker. So if you look at the span of 100 years, in Canada you might only be able to get 1 harvest, whereas in the US, for example, if you went down to Georgia, for example, we have some forests there, you get 3 cuts in a century. So the trees grow much quicker and typically a lot straighter. Again, just the climate, just the type of species of wood that grows there. So I won't spend too much time here, but again, Weyerhaeuser is a big company, a Fortune 500 company, and a whole bunch of employees and all that kind of stuff. So this is the family of products that we carry the Ilevel brand. We manufacture I-joists, which we call TJIs. You may recognize that trade name, or silent floors, another trade name. So some of these trade names have become, because they're really pioneers of the industry, to become household brands, or household with your contractors, brands that they recognize, kind of like Kleenex or Speedo. So a lot of times I come across specifications from design firms that they're asking for a TJI at 60% or something like that. So you might run into those brands throughout your career. So that's our I-joists. You notice now that truss joist has become simply a quick brand as opposed